All right, so Chez Reavie wins the Travelers Championship. It's been a long time since he's won. 10 years, 10 months, and 27 days ago.
It's not long at all for
It
a
looks
winner.
like he's changed quite a bit.
He has. He's put on a few LBs and
I think it's the hat. I think it's the flat brim.
Makes the
brim.
head look big.
Yeah.
He's got the same watch on, I think.
Probably.
I think he does.
10 years.
Or a new one now.
Yeah, he's going to buy a new one now. So, believe it or not, he actually tied for third at the U.S. Open. Most of you guys might
I
know
had
that.
no
I didn't know
idea.
that. Did
And
not
he's
know
super hot this year. He's got 5 top 10s. The dude is on it this year. So, don't hate on Chez Reavie. And favorite thing I like about him, no Twitter account. Love that guy. And
Take notes.
he has an Instagram account that just started yesterday, and I think it's a fake account. Did you start that for him?
I'm trying to get followers. I want to feel wanted.
You got more followers in one day being a fake Chez account.
Yep.
All right, follow Harry, okay? Anyway,
Chez.
10 years is a long time in between wins. It was one of the longest droughts, PGA Tour. And it makes me think, like, what everyone was doing 10 years, 10 months ago. So, Sam, what were you doing 10 years ago?
I guess I was dressed as...
That is not you.
Yeah, I had the Justin Bieber hair in 2009.
Wow.
That looks like Young Life back in high school.
Oh my god.
So
We had an ugly Christmas sweater party.
was that pre-tender?
Oh, dude. I think I had like a LG chocolate or something. There wasn't even apps on the phones back then. I didn't have internet on my phone.
Is that
Dude,
a
you look like the kid off the Grinch.
Hey, he looks really happy in that.
I'm hanging out with some elves, I'll tell you what.
Oh my god.
Well, anyway, moving on back to the winner of a tour event. He ranks 157th on tour for driving distance, first in accuracy percentage, which brings me to a question. Do you think that the number one golfer in the world can be a short hitter again?
Potentially.
If we have to say yes or no, I would say no.
What do you think, Tony?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, think about that. He's 157th, averages 285 off the tee, which that's pretty close to dead last, and he's still hitting in a pretty decent ways. He has to rank first in accuracy to be able to compete if you're that low down there, right? So, I mean, in today's events, it's funny. You see a lot of the educators out there preaching so much about gaining mile per hour on their swing speed and things like you've worked on and Harry's worked on, and you see why, because all things being equal, a guy that can hit it farther has a better chance of winning on tour.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
the longer hitters, the short game is so much better than it was. So even if they do hit in the rough,
Well, that's what I'm
they-
saying. All
yeah,
things
exactly.
being equal, they're not
Exactly.
losing their short game ability by
Because
being able to hit it
back
farther.
then when Luke Donald was winning, he was a short hitter, but his short game was so much better than everyone else.
Isn't that crazy too, Tony? Like, do you think that's all evolved out of a couple things, the launch monitors and strokes gained?
Definitely the launch monitors, and I think some of the things we've learned about optimizing club head speed and just getting bigger, faster, stronger. And the reality is, the guys that are significantly longer on tour are generally just marginally less accurate. So
Right.
basically, they've got less ground to make up. They're not missing a ton more fairways than the shorter guys. So
Yeah, the whole
it's
drive
just-
for show, putt for dough thing has been kind of, demystified,
So was that back in the day, was that kind of like the trade-off was if you wanted distance, you sacrifice accuracy no matter what?
I don't think people knew anything. I think it was just so much guessing. And now we have numbers to go with it, just like
Yeah.
so many other things. Now we can actually quantify things that we just, the folklore that you heard in the vernacular going around tour or at the local driving range or anything,
And
Well, anyway.
you take some of these big hitters too. They have really good short games too. So
Yeah, it's not
sort
like
of
just because you hit the
complete
ball
players.
far.
It's not like there's sort of, I think, at one time this idea that these guys were just pounding it way up into the rough and then hopefully getting it close and making a couple putts. But the fact of the matter is, the big hitters are reasonably accurate. They have outstanding short games to boot. I mean, look at Koepka. Just feel like if he gets inside 100 or even 150, sometimes he's going to drop it within 8 feet of the flagstick. So I mean,
Yeah, DJ shot up the world rankings when he's always been long, but his whole vice was his wedge play. And then that few years ago when he improved his wedge game, took him straight up to world number one. I mean, he was killing it.
Well, you got to have everything,
Yeah,
right?
if you're-
All things being equal.
if you want to talk about sort of the biggest impact, I think real world wise in terms of the strokes gain methodology and understanding that, is that the guys have been much better able to identify the weaknesses in their game and then address those. So
Right.
it wasn't just sort of like, I feel like I don't have a great short game. It's
Bingo.
well, you're pretty good. You got a hole at 120, fix that, and you're gonna be money, and that's what you're seeing.
And that's the incredible value for amateurs of these Arcos and shot scope type devices, where for the first time you too can learn, where you suck, where you need to spend more time.
Turns out for me, it's the golf course.
That's your handicap is golf.
I would T2 green. I'm terrible. Once I'm on the green, though, it turns out I'm a pretty solid putter.
Well,
Just getting there is a problem.
looking at what's in the
It's a
bag.
journey.
Looking at what's in the bag of what he played, it's a mix again, which I and we all love to see. A lot of TaylorMade stuff. Titleist Pro V1 ball. How many weeks in a row is this, Tony? I mean, not in a
Right.
row. There's been a couple other, like with Tiger winning, right?
Well, if you look any given week, right, especially in a major, which obviously this wasn't, but I mean, it's usually sort of Titleist is somewhere 80 to 85 balls in play, and the next closest is 15-ish, give or take. So, I mean,
And
it's,
look, there's
it's
some
domination on tour for sure.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people out there that go, well, yeah, and we were probably a part of that before in my golf spot. Yeah, they pay for it. They do pay for it.
Sure do.
But I can also tell you this:
Sure
we
do.
just did a golf ball test, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts. The Pro V1 is a great
Damn
ball.
good ball.
It's
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, surprise. I mean, yeah,
Well,
really good.
not surprises, but it was nice to see the validation there of why so many of these guys are playing it. It's not because they wear it, like he did in 2008 on his hat.
Right.
These are a consistent ball from ball to ball, and it's a great performing ball for a lot of golfers. Which brings me to the next point is actually we're going to Titleist this week. Tony leaves tomorrow. Tony?
Tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, about driving down, so about a little less than 4 hours to get there, so not terrible.
So if any of you guys have questions or ladies that are listening to this, watching this, and we are going to go down there and ask some of the questions you have. One of the cool things in the research that I found was, do you know who even started Titleist? Can anybody guess?
no clue.
Yeah, pretty cool story. So his name is Philip Young. And the reason why he started Titleist is crazy because we found the same thing to be true 75 years later in a golf ball test, right? He was putting with his dentist on the putting green, and the ball didn't roll dead straight. And he was wondering, how in the hell is that possible? So he gave the balls to the dentist. He x-rayed a bunch of balls and found that the cores were not centered in balls. And that's why they flew erratically. And for anybody out there that said we were crazy when balls are flying left or right on the range when we did our golf ball test, there you go.
Wow. That's so cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, so cool.
I mean,
Little,
look, anybody who just starts randomly cutting open golf balls, like go to Home Depot, get a PVC cutter, buy some golf balls, whatever brand you want, start cutting them open. You will find very clearly situations where you have different thicknesses and different layers. Usually it's most observable on the cover where you see the, a little more on one side, but yeah, every layer you can find that if you look across a lot of balls. That's
yeah, one of the most shocking things we did was when we did the Kirkland golf ball test, right? That pretty much everyone has heard about, doesn't even know that my golf spy did it, but somehow found out about it, right?
You heard of the Kirkland test? Oh, yeah, that was us.
Yeah, so great performing ball, and companies were quick to jump out and say, yeah, but they're not consistent, and they're not wrong. Like
Right.
out of a dozen balls, we were pretty shocked at not Kirkland necessarily, but just balls in general. How if the average consumer buys a dozen balls and you would think that all those 12 balls are the same.
Yeah, they're exactly the same. But
It's just not even close to that.
Yeah.
And that's where the Titleist and the Bridgestones and the Strixons maybe really start to outperform, especially even the direct consumer balls that everybody's hearing about, the Vices and whatever. But anyway, so yeah, he had a TaylorMade driver M2. Pretty cool. TaylorMade
Sheesh.
M5, 3-wood. His irons, the TaylorMade P790s, are most forgiving iron
Player's
in 2019 for player's
Yep.
distance. Vokey wedges, Odyssey Works number 7 putter. And so in other news, tour news, we've got something for you guys that have never heard of this called the Corn Ferry Tour. And for you that don't know what the hell Corn Ferry is, it's a global organizational consulting firm, which I still don't know what that means. But what I thought was cool was the guy, Club Pro guy, if you've ever heard of him on Twitter, put out a great put out a great tweet because it was exactly what I was thinking when he put it out. It said, "I feel like the jury's still out on the new Corn Ferry Tour logo."
I think that's a great logo.
Wait, no way. Is that the logo?
No.
Okay, thank God.
That's what Americans eat for Halloween. Anyway, speaking of professional tours, that replaced the Web, Nationwide, Buy.com, Nike, and anyone?
No clue.
Hogan.
Yeah. The Hogan Tour.
Bingo.
So it replaced all of them?
Well, that was the
Well,
The
Oh, I see what you
progression of
mean.
the
Yeah,
names,
I get you.
That's your lineage right there.
that was the sponsors' names of. Now it's the Corn Ferry.
This is
And-
by far
and
the
next
worst
year-
name.
This is by
And
far
next-
the worst name.
And next year you will not see the Corn Ferry Tour anymore. It will be disbanded because of the name.
No, I think they've got like a 10-year.
Sorry to the
Five
the
or 10,
brand
I
name,
mean,
but
it's-
it sucks. Like that's a really bad.
Tony,
name
did you
for a
say the
tour.
first guy's name was probably last name was Corn and the other guy's last name was Ferry?
I would guess that's how. I mean, otherwise there's absolutely no explanation.
Well, talking about professional tours, aren't you going pro, Harry, or not?
80% yes right now. Yeah.
80%.
Just
Yeah.
got to do a little bit more research.
What's holding you back?
Nothing really. I'm just
Putting?
that's probably true. I want to play a couple more amateur events. I got USAM qualifying coming up in a couple of weeks, and a couple more events. I just want to have a little bit more fun with.
Can I caddy for you if you make it to Pinehurst?
Yes.
So we were just
Right.
talking about this past week. So Harry's thinking about going pro. Sam was debating why he didn't think he should.
Yeah.
Both of these guys are great golfers. Probably, if they played 10 times, we really need to go and see you guys play.
We need a vlog.
We're not big into vlogs, but that would be a good one, I think, internally. Tony, I'd ask if you were going pro, but we both know we're not going, so we're just going to have to watch them and caddy. On to the next thing.
Semi-pro. I'm actually hoping to improve enough to play as an amateur.
All right, well, that's enough about the Travelers Championship today and Chez Reavie. Congratulations, big win and big year so far for him. So
He's playing really well.
yeah,
Kind of flying under the radar until now.
Yeah.
that'll happen.
I would
Didn't
say
even know.
until the U.S. Open when he played out of his mind as well. So
Yeah, but
What's-
I never even.
You know what's
I
crazy
never
about
noticed
that?
it.
Go back and look at the coverage of that tournament, and people were demanding this guy is third or fourth, I think, at the time, and no coverage.
They
at
weren't
all
showing
of
him.
it.
That's
Nothing.
probably why we didn't see it because the media didn't.
there's
cover
like
it.
4 shots.
What's that?
I think they showed like 4 shots.
Oh,
Yeah, but
okay.
when they
that's-
showed them, I guarantee there'll be
That's-
putts because they'll cut to someone and you know it's going in. So it'll be
it's
like,
like, yeah,
oh, he rolled in a 20-foot putt. That's him.
here's not Brooks Koepka.